Welcome back, Ranger Nation, to the celebration of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers once and always. The franchise, like myself, celebrates 30 years this year, and in this Netflix special, we follow the original team of Rangers after tragedy strikes, and we see an unlikely hero take her rightful place among the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers to face off against the team's oldest nemesis, Rita Repulsa. I have always loved the Power Rangers. I don't remember a time in my life where I don't have the Power Rangers, and it feels especially inspired in an era where Hollywood keeps rebooting franchise after franchise where they're not even 10 years old, and this franchise has stood its ground for 30 years. They've had a movie here and there, they've tried to do something new, but the continuity has remained and has become stronger now with brand new franchises going from its original owner in Saban to Disney, back to Saban, now to Hasbro with Netflix backing and an excellent run of comics. It's the franchise that hasn't died yet, while constantly remaining very niche. But as a lifelong fan that has just immersed myself into the material, I cannot wait to check this out. And it hits all the right notes that you want, acknowledging where it has come from and how strong it has remained with its fan base for 30 years at this point. And going into this special, there were some minor controversies behind the scenes, something that Power Rangers as a franchise is no stranger to in all the shapes and forms that it can take. And while I certainly want to discuss the behind the scenes aspect of this special, I want to first get into the story, and as it has been a day since it's out, we will talk full spoilers on this special. I just want to make that very clear because I want to talk references and Easter eggs to the wider Ranger lore, and there is certainly a lot of it. Not as much as I expected, and certainly not so much that it takes away and pulls focus from the actual story. This is definitely Billy's show, which feels particularly endearing as he's always been the heart of the Mighty Morphin team, with David Yost delivering a genuinely heartfelt performance. He's never been the most successful actor in the Power Rangers franchise, especially if you go all the way back to the 90s. A lot of these actors were secluded to being recognized for their work in Power Rangers and just never took off, unfortunately, and live off of doing Comic Cons year after year, year round. And if they can live off that, that's awesome because they deserve more success, especially Yost, who proves really that he can offer a lot more nuance than maybe the material calls for, which works really well on a meta level to give closure to a lot of open ended issues, not only for his character, but for what happened behind the scenes when he took off from the show. Again, another controversy from back in the days of Power Rangers. You could say that Zach is also a main character, and he certainly is. It's him and Billy splitting the leadership for this special, but this is particularly Billy's show. It's him that pulls the team together, it's him that brings everyone back to being a Ranger, and it's Billy who is carrying so much of the emotional weight in this story. It's Billy who is wrestling with a lot of demons from his past and carrying so much guilt about what has happened, particularly as the special kicks off and we see the death of Trini, which is a thread throughout this entire special. It's what gives a certain character the biggest arc in this, which we'll talk about. Something that I really liked was the lack of a team structure, for lack of a better term. It feels particularly refreshing after 30 years seeing a team dynamic where anyone can take charge, and no matter what, they work as a unit. Given that our working Red and Pink Rangers are Rocky and Kat respectively, it makes sense for Billy and Zach to don the mantle of leaders as they are the OGs. They were Mighty Morphin Power Rangers before Rocky and Kat ever came in and inherited their powers and colors from Jason and Kim. Which leaves us to talk about Min, the daughter of Trini, who sets out on this path of revenge against Rita Repulsa after the latter kills the original Yellow Ranger. She, while not the main character, definitely gets the biggest arc. The death of Trini is a story thread that informs the whole journey of all these characters through this special. And Min is quite endearing as well. She's wrestling with a lot of emotions, and she definitely is a teenager with attitude, which fits the exact mold. And like David Yost, you can see Charlie Kirsch's performance pulling on a lot of emotions that feel more nuanced than the actual material calls for it. When it comes to the script, Power Rangers has always been simplistic because despite me loving the franchise, despite people my age, people older than me loving this franchise, it is primarily a franchise for kids. So it pulls a lot of simplistic interpretations of emotions and characterizations, which has always been part of the charm when it comes to this franchise. And when it comes to Min taking up this mantle, becoming the Yellow Ranger, inheriting this power from her mother, it makes a lot of sense given the plans Hasbro has for this franchise to keep the legacy of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers alive going forward, while paying tribute to Trini and Trui herself, who tragically passed away in a car accident in 2001, I believe, with great moments earned in classic Ranger fashion, where you got silly jokes, you got goofy one-liners, and you got this generational gap that makes the clash and conflict between Min and the original Rangers that have been present all her life feel so natural and make the dynamics of the team interesting, make them feel brand new. And so not only does it do a lot for this character and shows us a glimpse of what the future of the Mighty Morphin team could be, but also does a lot for the character that began this legacy in the first place. But like I said, the absence of Kim, Jason, and Tommy needs to be addressed. Or rather, the absence of their actors, Amy Jo Johnson, Austin St. John, and Jason David Frank. Because while the characters are definitely in this special, it's only by way of referencing their names or audio bites of their voices during the action scenes, as the special opens with this awesome seaside action sequence where the theme song plays. Ron Wasserman is back with the music, and greatest TV show theme ever. Just opens with the original team, even Tommy donning the Green Ranger colors. But there are points where it feels weird. And the biggest elephant in the room to be addressed is how it must have already been so late, so deep into production and shooting to give Tommy and Jason David Frank the kind of tribute Trini was given in this script. It's nevertheless admirable how they acknowledge him and how they insert the passing of him and naturally the emotions that come with that in a manner that feels so true to the franchise. A franchise that has always notoriously scraped by with what they had, be it in Sentai footage, budget, or what have you. So many of the 30 seasons in the history of this franchise had so many troubled productions, be it they didn't know how to adapt certain Sentai series, be it they didn't have enough of the Sentai series to adapt, but they always managed for good results and for very bad results. But this is a franchise that has always managed to save itself and managed to deliver something. But this special, there's no Sentai footage. Yet the special feels like an aesthetic upgrade in every single way. From the great locations, be it the Seaside Hilltop, Angel Grove itself, the new command center that is actually part of Cranston Tech, to Rita's Moon Palace that pays homage to the Witch Bandora from the original Z-Ranger Sentai series Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is based on. Great cinematography with wide panoramic shots, wire-fu choreography that will have your eyes melt, and so many Cal explosions in the background as well. Even the suits look refined with a thicker neck piece that is so distinguished, the American version of the suits. And the VFX, they're not the best. We're not talking about billion-dollar Marvel franchise. We're not talking about Star Wars. We're talking Power Rangers. And while I certainly think the Megazord looks strange in its design, I certainly love this look in general compared to what we've gotten before in movies with bigger budgets. This is a special that had no Sentai footage to help it out, to put the pieces together, but they committed nonetheless. This was a production that was immensely helped by new owners who are committed to this franchise to keep it going, to keep it alive, and obviously the backing of Netflix helps as well. So it has all the trappings, all the tropes, all the cheesiness that comes with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And I specifically say Mighty Morphin because for all its many issues throughout the past 30 years, Power Rangers is certainly a franchise that has become a little bit more nuanced. Not necessarily nuanced as a whole, but viewers' sensibilities, children's sensibilities throughout the years have changed. The children who watch this show today, the children that this show is targeted to today, are not geared the same way children were back then. And this special feels like it's taking the storytelling sensibilities from 1993 and just telling a story now in the same way. That brings some issues. Naturally, it feels trapped in 1993 while being made, while taking place today. But it just felt, it ticked all the right nostalgic notes in that sense. Moving on from that, there are more Power Rangers characters in here that don't necessarily pick up the mantles again, don't necessarily become Rangers. Adam and Aisha are traveling across galaxies working with SPA. This is Space Patrol Alpha, which obviously is a reference to the 2005 season Power Rangers SPD. A show that takes place in the far future of 2025. We are 2 years away from that show taking place. So in the next 2 years, Space Patrol Alpha will have to become Space Patrol Delta. And they've mentioned they had run-ins with the Trubian Empire, which are the main antagonists of Power Rangers SPD. And I just want to know how in the next 2 years, how something goes so horribly wrong that they skip Space Patrol Beta and Space Patrol Gamma. But essentially, this is my pitch to have a 20-year reunion special for Power Rangers SPD. That's all I'm saying, man. I love that season. Also, we learn in the special that Billy and Alpha are trying to bring back Zordon, who was destroyed at the end of Power Rangers in Space, sending a wave of goodness to destroy evil across all of the universe, and that is how Rita comes back, taking possession of Alpha 8 and becoming this sort of robot Rita. I would have certainly preferred Rita to bring back Goldar, maybe Zed, more interesting, more main level monsters, but Zed is doing his own thing in Power Rangers Cosmic Fury, so who knows if that will connect to this. But I do like Rita's robot look, and she wants to go back to the day of the dumpster, the first episode of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and destroy the Rangers before they even become Rangers. I'm always going to be a sucker for a time travel plot, but she goes after Rangers of all eras. There are references to specific locations and cities that are the main cities for other seasons of Power Rangers. There's a reference to Terra Venture, which is when where Power Rangers Lost Galaxy takes place. And then as she captures Kim, Jason, and Tommy, so they can be out of the picture as characters and bring the other ones in, we also see figures of other Rangers, not only from the Saban era, the Disney era, the Neo Saban era, and the current Hasbro era. Rita captures obviously Green Ranger Tommy, Red Ranger Jason, and Pink Ranger Kim, but also Dino Thunder White Ranger Trent and Red Ranger Connor, Lost Galaxy Red Ranger Leo, Blue Ranger Kai, and Green Ranger Damon. She captures the Phantom Ranger from Turbo and In Space, who, throughout the history of Power Rangers, we've never learned his identity, but there's a great comic run with the Phantom Rangers. It's called Power Rangers Universe. Read it. It's awesome. She captures Merrick, the Wild Force Silver Ranger, and In Space Yellow Ranger Ashley and Black Ranger Carlos, as well as Beast Morphers Red, Blue, and Gold Ranger, and finally the Zeo Yellow Ranger, Tanya. And Rita must be going across all universes, across the morphing grid, where she can detect Power Rangers who are morphed thanks to Minotaur and Snizzard. Looks that I really appreciated, but again, I probably would have preferred Goldar and maybe other villains. But given their powers that were already there in the original show, it makes sense why these were the ones chosen, and actually shows a lot of commitment and research from the writers and production team as to what characters to bring into this special. Finally, at the end, after Min becomes the Yellow Ranger by protecting Billy from Rita's death ray, and has become the Yellow Ranger, with the Morpher giving her her mother's memories and the legacy of power that Trini started after Rita is defeated, Adam and Aisha come down to Earth, and SPA are on their way to Aquitar to help the other Rangers that were wounded, and they mention Cestria, suggesting that Billy and her were or even are still in a relationship, given that Billy left originally from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers to go to Aquitar to help the alien Rangers. Not only that, Billy referenced this throughout his space journeys, I guess in the 90s, he references Miranoi, which is the home planet to Maya, the Lost Galaxy Yellow Ranger, and where people who left in Terra Venture made their new home after that season was over. In that big finale, a great season. Watch Lost Galaxy if you haven't. It's one of the top 3 seasons of the show. So all these references, they just feel natural, and they tap more of the universe together, at least the ones that are in the same continuity. The continuity, again, is a bit broken because they will have these references, but because certain seasons are set in parallel dimensions, such as RPM, Dino Charge, Beast Morphers, we're not really sure about the rules of what Rita was going to do. Is it just in this one universe? Is it just in others? So ton of references, really fun if you're tapped into the wider Power Rangers lore. But like I said in the beginning, not so much as to take away the focus from this story. So I had a lot of fun, not only with these references, but the story itself and how they managed to tell this story with all the adversities that came their way. It's classic Ranger MO. And I do wish Bulk and Skull were here. There's a reference to them where I thought they were about to show up because you even hear their theme. What they committed to do, using the tools, the actors, the characters they had at their disposal, this was just really fun. This wasn't trying to be anything to open the door for a new season of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. What you see is what you get, celebrating 30 years of this franchise that is still going strong. And I thought it did it very right. But as I dive into my final thoughts on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers once and always, it's time for you to start the conversation in the comments below. Let me know what you thought of this special. What are your memories of growing up with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And if you kept up with the show throughout all its many seasons, what is your favorite season of Power Rangers? Anything and everything down there. And if you're enjoying this review, there's many more like it right up here. I did a few Power Rangers reviews years ago during like my first year on the YouTube channel. Something I would like to go back to if you are interested. But if you want to talk in general, more movies and TV, this is the place to be. Consider clicking that subscribe button and you won't miss any future conversations on your favorite movies and TV. Without a doubt, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers once and always is the most joyful watch I'll have in all of 2023. The polished production, aesthetics, and choreography beautifully capture the rightfully nostalgic, earnestly heartfelt, and endearingly silly spirit of Power Rangers. It's a cross-generational celebration for every fan. I'm giving Mighty Morphin Power Rangers once and always a B+. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to share your thoughts on all of Power Rangers in the comments below. I really hope we get more opportunities to talk Power Rangers just because I love Power Rangers. Big shout out to my channel members for always supporting the channel, and I'll be back very soon with more. So until the next one, love each other, love the movies, and may the power protect you always.